Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to Astro Q&A with Vic DiCara. Question 1.
Indrani asks, what is the logic behind exaltation? What singles out a specific sign as the exaltation sign for a specific planet? Okay, exaltation is part of the theory of dignity. This theory informs us whether or not we should give a more positive or a more negative slant to a planet that we're interpreting in the birth chart. The highest level of dignity is called exaltation. The next best is for a planet to be in its own sign, in a sign that it owns. It's easy to see the logic in that one. Everybody does well when they're in their own environment, in their own atmosphere. But the logic behind exaltation is very interesting because it suggests that there's something even better than being comfortable and cozy in your own spot. It suggests that just the right amount of challenge, just the right amount of counterbalance would make you even more productive and inspired than you would be if you were cozy and comfortable in your own home. So what determines which sign exalts which planet is which sign presents just the right amount of challenge and counterbalance for that particular planet. For example, Mars exalts in Capricorn. So it would be great for Mars to be in its own sign like Aries. That's a really nice placement for Mars. It's in its own environment, it feels comfortable. But it's even better to have Mars in Capricorn because Capricorn is an Earth sign ruled by Saturn. The qualities of Earth and Saturn temper the energetic independence of Mars, yet challenge it just enough to bring it out and make it stable and strong. So Capricorn is the perfect counterbalance, the perfect challenge for Mars. Now here's a quick rundown of the logic behind all the exaltations. The Sun exalts in Aries because all the things that the Sun represents, like your career or your self-image, do best. They reach their fullest potential with a little bit of challenge to be more brave and daring and a little bit bold. The Moon exalts in Taurus because emotions need to be balanced by steadiness and affection. Venus exalts in Pisces because love should be the deepest emotion that we feel and should inform all our decisions. Jupiter exalts in Cancer because morality and wisdom and all that stuff that Jupiter represents is boring and useless if it doesn't have real emotional content. Saturn exalts in Libra because our hard work needs to take a break sometimes, and because we should work hard not just for ourselves, but for society at large. Now, I think Mercury's exaltation is the most interesting because Mercury is the only planet that exalts in its own sign. Mercury exalts in Virgo. The logic here is that Mercury represents balance. Mercury is already perfectly balanced. So Mercury doesn't need to be counterbalanced or challenged by some other planet. Just the fact that Virgo is the earth element is enough of a balance and to temper the intellect's tendency to wander and fantasize.
Question 2.
Biology asks, why do debilitated planets sometimes act like they're not debilitated? Sometimes they even act like they're exalted. Okay, in any country, culture is going to be different from the north part of the country to the south part of the country, the east part of the country, the west part of the country. So similarly, in any sign, it's not exactly the same from each degree. Each sign has subdivisions called anshas. And each ansha or subdivision has its own sign. So even within Aries, for example, there's an area which reflects the qualities of Taurus in Aries. There's another which reflects the qualities of Gemini in Aries. Another which reflects the quality of Cancer in Aries. Then there are many layers of these subdivisions. Signs are usually subdivided into layers of 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 12, 30, and 60 subdivisions, each one reflecting its own sign. So the end result is that the specific degree and minute that a planet occupies within a sign affects the dignity of the planet by exposing it to all sorts of different signs in the subdivisions. We can use a pretty simple weighted average to tally up the dignity of all of those subdivisions to arrive at an overall dignity or true dignity. And this calculation is extremely important because without it, you can't really be confident over whether or not you should give a positive slant to the possibilities of the symbol that you're interpreting or a negative slant to those possibilities. Now, it's not uncommon for the true overall dignity of a planet to be quite different from the apparent dignity of just looking at what sign that planet is on the surface. You might have Jupiter in Cancer, so you might want to interpret that as exalted, which means the best dignity. So you might want to give a very positive slant to any interpretation of Jupiter, because Jupiter is exalted. But it might be at a particular degree and minute in Cancer, which exposes it to Capricorn, Aquarius, and all sorts of enemy signs, which puts it in negative dignity overall. Possibly very negative dignity overall, even though it appears to be in Cancer on the surface. And the same thing goes for debilitation. Even inside a debilitation sign, the degree and minute is crucial. Jupiter, for example, might be debilitated in Capricorn, but it might be at a degree which exposes it to Cancer and all kinds of friendly other signs.
Question 3.
Dreamgirls12 asks, is there a way to know if the person is currently in his last incarnation with just a few steps left to gaining enlightenment? Well, just like predicting the past life, predicting the next life is very difficult to fact check. If I predict that you're going to become enlightened in your next life, how am I going to know if my prediction was correct or not? We can hypothesize what the next life is going to be based on the way that you're cultivating your mentality in this life. So, if we can astrologically identify the traits indicating spiritual interests and behavior in this lifetime, then we have solid ground for predicting what will occur in your next lifetime. Now, to determine whether or not enlightenment is on the horizon, here's a simple system that I found to be quite reliable. First thing you should do is cast a chart with tropical signs using whole sign houses. Once you have that kind of a chart, look for combinations formed by the lords of the houses of enlightenment. There's 4 goals of life, and enlightenment is the 4th. There are 4 trines in the houses correspond to these 4 goals. The trine that's rooted in the 4th element, water, corresponds to the 4th goal, enlightenment. So the 4th house, 8th house, and 12th house are the trine of enlightenment houses. We want to look for combinations amongst these houses and their lords. For example, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada had the 12th lord in the 8th house. That's an example of a combination between the houses of enlightenment. Now, to make it much more profound in his chart, much more profound, this 12th lord in the 8th was also exactly conjoined Ketu, the planet of enlightenment. So not only is it a combination of the houses of enlightenment, but that combination is exactly aligned with the planet of enlightenment. Additionally, in this chart, the lord of the 4th house perfectly aspected the lord of the 8th. That's another example of a combination of enlightenment houses. And that 8th lord was in the 9th house, which is also significant. The 9th house is the most evolved of the Dharma trine of houses. So for enlightenment, it's very good to have a connection between Dharma and Moksha, between the 3rd goal and the 4th goal, between your sense of morality and religion and enlightenment, because it will indicate that your idea of religion and your idea of morality is connected directly to the essence of it, which is spiritual progress and spiritual enlightenment. So for a prediction of enlightenment, it's also quite good to see the lords of enlightenment houses connected with Dharma houses, especially the 9th.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share, and leave a comment below. You can answer your questions there too. And please visit my website, vicdicara.com, for readings, classes, books, links to my Facebook and blog, and all kinds of stuff.